Hello everyone, welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. Thank you guys so much for joining here on this, what is it today? Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for joining here on Tuesday, April 16th. We are going to be going over live severe weather forecast for today. A dangerous day ahead potentially for severe weather. The newest Storm Prediction Center update does have an enhanced risk of severe weather maintained across portions of Iowa down into northeast Missouri and northwestern Illinois today. We're going to be breaking down the setup for severe weather. We're going to be breaking down the timing of the storms and much more here and answering your questions in the live stream. So smash that like button on the way in, folks. The more likes we get, the more people who are joining in the live stream. So I definitely appreciate it. Let's go over some of the cities here in the enhanced risk area for today. And this does include some metropolitan areas, including Des Moines up here into Cedar Rapids, the Davenport, Moline area there into the Quad Cities. Zooming it in a little bit further here, we got Galesburg, Illinois, down here to Quincy in Illinois as well. Down into Missouri, we have Kirksville, Missouri in play, as well as we go into the northeastern side there of Missouri, Moberly up to Chillicothe, and then Trenton. And then down toward the Hannibal region, and then up into Iowa, we do have a few areas here as well of Ames, like I mentioned, Des Moines, Iowa City, the University of Iowa there, Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, Dubuque, Iowa, getting into Clinton, Iowa over here, Maquoketa, getting in towards the Davenport Quad Cities region. This includes Bettendorf, getting in towards the Muscatine region, Burlington, Ottumwa, Centerville, Creston, Iowa, up here toward Marshalltown. This includes Waverly. The enhanced risk also stretching over to Fort Dodge, Iowa as well. So definitely keeping a very close eye on that enhanced risk area. Again, if you are in the orange today, the areas that I just mentioned, some of the cities inside of that enhanced risk area, that is essentially a level 3 out of 5 on the scale for severe weather. So that's a pretty decent chance of severe storms. We do have a larger slight risk area here in the yellow. That's a 2 out of 5. Stretching from Chicago up there toward Madison, Wisconsin. Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, also in play there as well. That stretches west towards Omaha here, Kansas City and St. Joseph down to Topeka. That includes the Springfield, Jefferson City area, St. Louis, all the way down here toward Fayetteville there into Arkansas. That stretches around through Paducah, Kentucky, towards the Evansville, Indiana area, just to the west of there, getting into Springfield, Illinois, the capital there of Illinois, up into Bloomington, Normal, up into Champaign-Urbana there, into the University of Illinois, down in toward the Peoria and Pekin, Illinois region, Washington, Illinois, down there in towards Mount Vernon, Effingham, Charleston, Eastern Illinois University region there, DeKalb, Rochelle, Aurora, Naperville, those areas, Rockford, Illinois. You guys are all into that slight risk of severe weather today. You do have a level 2 out of 5. Some of the areas there into northern Illinois. It does include Northern Illinois University as well up there into DeKalb. So we're keeping an eye on that. And then again, a larger dark green area here. This is a marginal risk that stretches along the warm front back there across Indiana, Ohio, and into West Virginia and Kentucky. So a large area in risk for severe weather today. And again, thank you all for joining. If you are here, make sure to smash that like button down below. The more people join and are aware of the severe weather potential as we do go through the Tuesday, April 16th time frame. Thank you to Mark for the $10 donation. Very much appreciated. Thank you so much for your generosity, Mark. Again, you guys don't have to do that. I really do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see here. Who's in the chat? We got Dylan, we got Luis and Jean. Thank you so much. Kate, and let's see here. Sherry Hall is in the chat. Russell, thanks for joining. Good morning to you. Snowies, thank you for modding. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. So yeah, let's go over the risk categories for today of what you could see for severe weather. Let's go over the tornado risk. A very nice looking tornado risk here today in a large area. If you are in a color, you are in a risk, okay? So if you do have a green, a brown, or a yellow, you are in risk for a tornado today. The green is essentially a 2% probability of a tornado. That does include Chicago over there, Chicago proper, and Cook County up there to Milwaukee. That stretches up toward La Crosse, Wisconsin, bends back there toward Lincoln, Nebraska, all the way down to Memphis, folks. Yes, Memphis, we have a 2% chance of a tornado here today. In the brown shaded color, the 5% shading. So that's a little bit higher of a probability of tornadoes. This is from Kansas City and St. Joseph down to Springfield, Jefferson City, and this does include the St. Louis region on both sides of the Mississippi River. And they're into Springfield, Bloomington, Normal. That stretches up to Rockford, Illinois, and toward Madison, Wisconsin there, Platteville. into Wisconsin as well, Janesville and up there towards Monroe in southern Wisconsin. That is a 5% chance of a tornado within a 25-mile radius of any given point within this brown shaded color. And then the highest risk category for tornadoes today is a 10% significant tornado risk here. You can see these dashed lines within this. This means there could be a chance, a 10% probability of a EF2 to EF5 strength tornado within this vicinity during the day today. This is across central and eastern Iowa into northeast Missouri, western and northwest Illinois. This includes Des Moines and Ames up there toward Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City. Again, that includes the University of Iowa there. Getting into Davenport, Moline, the Bettendorf region, Maquoketa, Iowa, up there toward Dubuque, and that stretches down toward Muscatine. Getting into Galesburg, Illinois there and down toward Macomb. So if you live down there in McDonough County there in western Illinois, in Macomb, you guys do have a potential for a strong tornado today. Quincy and Hannibal, further off to the west there into Missouri. We have Kirksville, we have Moberly, Chillicothe, and Trenton. That definitely is an area to watch. Ottumwa, Iowa, just naming some of the cities within this area. So if you are in any of the areas that I just mentioned, just today, just in general, you have a chance of severe weather and then tornadoes, but the areas I just mentioned in the yellow, those are the areas that we could see a strong, long track tornado as we do go through the afternoon and evening. We'll be definitely keeping you covered on this channel for that. Let's go over here to the hail risk. Another big threat for hail. We had a lot of hail yesterday as well back in the plains. We are seeing some storms back there toward Kansas City, a little rambunctious this morning, producing some heavy rain there as well and some hail, so definitely keeping an eye on that. We do have a significant hail risk, though, across portions of Iowa, again, into western and far northwest Illinois, into north central Missouri. This does include Des Moines, back into Ames again, into Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City there, University of Iowa, Davenport. That stretches down south there towards Jefferson City. Northeast of the Kansas City metro, that's where you have the threat for 2-inch or larger diameter hail. So if you are in this dash shaded line here, around this black dash shaded lines, you guys could be seeing some head egg size hail or larger in this environment as we do go through today. But look at, let's zoom this out. Let's show you the hail threat. Look at that. If you do have a color here on the map, brown, yellow, or red, you do have the threat for hail today from Sioux Falls down to Lincoln, Topeka, all the way to Memphis and Little Rock, all the way over here toward Evansville, Indiana, Paducah, Indianapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Peoria, and Pekin, Illinois. Definitely keeping an eye on you. Also down into St. Louis, you also have a threat for some large hail of quarter size at least as we go through today. Now finally, the wind threat, not as robust right now. There's only a 15% probability of wind across southern Wisconsin, southwest Wisconsin, into Iowa, Missouri, down into northern portions of Arkansas, and the entire state basically of Illinois. We do have a 15% chance of 60-mile-per-hour winds or greater as we do go through the afternoon and the evening with these thunderstorms. This again stretches from Des Moines down to St. Louis there into Jefferson City, in towards portions there of the St. Louis region, into Chicago, Rockford, Illinois, Peoria, and Pekin down there, also into Champaign-Urbana, Bloomington, Normal, Springfield, Illinois, Davenport, Quad Cities, Cedar Rapids, Dubuque. All those areas have a 15% probability of some damaging winds. And then if you're in the brown shaded color there across the Ohio River Valley, Louisville over there towards Cincinnati, Charleston, West Virginia, Memphis near Nashville and Clarksville there down towards, say, Topeka, Lincoln, La Crosse, Wisconsin, you have a 5% chance of a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust as we do go through the day today. So let's show you the setup of the severe weather today. Why is the atmosphere acting so rambunctious today? So let's go back here. Let's look at some weather models. Let's look at why we are seeing what we're seeing today potentially through the day. So let's look here at our dew point temperatures this morning. And you can see this morning our dew point temperatures are pretty robust down here into the Ozarks region of Missouri. The warm front is advancing northward here. The warm front draped across southern Iowa and central Illinois and southern Indiana there. That will be advancing north and northeastbound as we go through the day, folks, as this low pressure down here across the Nebraska-Iowa region will advance into the upper Midwest. That is going to pull the warm sector. You got the cold front dry line back here. You're going to pull the warm sector further to the north with that low pressure storm track. So definitely keeping an eye on that as we go through the day. So let's put this here in motion and show you where the dew points go. Where are those 60-degree dew points as we go through the rest of this morning and into the afternoon hours, because a warm, moist, unstable air mass is definitely supportive for severe weather. So let's go here as we move through the rest of the morning. Look at 11 o'clock, noon time frame. Notice the warm front is on the move, folks. Earlier on here, like right now this morning, the warm front is down in this region here. Look at it's moving further to the north and east through Des Moines up towards Chicago and Kankakee, Illinois as we go towards the noon time frame. This is midday now, and then here comes the cold front dry line back to the west. That will be entering into an environment where that is very unstable there into Iowa, into Missouri as we go through the day. 60-degree dew points, low, mid-60s. Definitely keeping an eye on that as we go through the afternoon. The warm front continues to advect the warm, moist, unstable air further to the north. The highest dew point pooling will actually be in eastern Iowa, northeastern Missouri, into portions of western Illinois. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. That is in the area that has the enhanced risk of severe weather. We have the highest dew point pooling here, highest instability as we go into the afternoon. So definitely keeping a close eye on this environment with the newest HRRR model that did come out just momentarily ago, so we'll keep an eye on that. And looking at the instability, let's look at that as well. So the most unstable CAPE, this is your convective available potential energy by 3 o'clock this afternoon. And look at these values starting to climb here. Northeast Missouri, 2,200 joules per kilogram. Into the Des Moines region, we're up to around 1,600 joules per kilogram here. Into Davenport, 1,200. And then over towards Chicago, a little bit weaker, under 1,000 joules per kilogram. But this is still mid-afternoon. It's still mid-April, so we have the sun still up until about 7 o'clock this evening, so some of this instability will be pushing further to the east as we go deeper into the afternoon hour. So let's move this ahead, and you can see here in just a moment, once this loads through, that this is going to push further to the north and east. The instability is going to start to climb there into western Illinois by 7 o'clock this evening, up to around 2,200 joules per kilogram here. And here's the concern. Let's go to the significant tornado parameter values now, and this is the concern, folks. This parameter space is actually showing for dew points, moisture levels. It's actually taking into account the instability that I just showed you, the wind shear, the 500 millibar mid-level jet, the 850 millibar low-level jet that's going to be cranking here early this evening across the Illinois Valley. It takes that into account. So the change of wind direction with height and speed as well. And you can see some of these values coming out early on this evening with that line of storms up over 3s, 4s across this region, especially along the Mississippi River there in eastern Iowa, northeast Missouri, and west central Illinois, maybe even up there into northwestern Illinois, west of I-39 there into northern Illinois. So we're keeping an eye on that. A value over 1 is essentially enough for a strong, violent tornado, folks. So if we have values of 3s and 4s, that gives you an idea that this environment that this storm could be developing in could produce a strong tornado here. So it's not a definite that there's going to be a strong tornado today, but just gives you the potential that the atmosphere is ripe for some severe weather. Let's look at our 0 to 3 kilometer CAPE as well. Very, very robust here this evening. And this is what you look at for supercell potential. Whenever you have these values well over 100, over 200 joules per kilogram, this is what you look for supercell structures, very large hail producers, very efficient tornado producers, and some very damaging winds across this region. You can see from Davenport up here around 127 down toward Muscatine, Keokuk, Iowa, down up there to 177. We're keeping an eye on that as we go deeper in towards the afternoon and the evening. So without further ado, folks, if you are here, make sure to smash that like button. I see there's over 400 people. We only have 100 likes, so make sure, again, if you are here, make sure to like the live stream, subscribe to my channel here at Weather on the Go. We do daily weather forecasts for southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics. Tropical weather season coming up. We do live streams for severe weather, hurricane season, and also for winter weather as well. So make sure subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be posting a new video forecast for you guys later on this morning and early afternoon, so make sure you are looking out for that. Let's go over the timing for the storms here. So this morning, 8 o'clock, we already have some storms ripping and rolling through portions of Iowa into northwest Missouri, down into eastern Nebraska there, into northeastern Kansas. Already some severe weather warnings down here across these areas at times. We could be seeing some 60-mile-per-hour winds, some quarter-size hail, and an isolated tornado threat this morning. And you can see that these storms are more scattered. So not everybody is going to see severe weather necessarily as we go through the morning hours. Over here from Sioux City down through Omaha, Kansas City, and near Des Moines, not everybody's going to see severe weather out across this region, but it gives you the idea that the atmosphere is already starting to become unstable as early as 8, 9 o'clock here this morning. Thank you so much, Servant of Righteousness, for the $5 donation. Stay weather aware, everybody. Absolutely great message there. Make sure to stay weather aware through the day. A very potentially dangerous day for severe weather today across the Midwest. One of the more robust severe weather setups we have seen. So let's move this through to the 10 o'clock hour. Notice we start to see a couple more supercells popping up potentially according to this model. Now, it is a weather model. It's one weather model, so it's not an exact solution of what the radar will look like, but it gives you an idea that a couple of these supercells down here will be discrete, semi-discrete, and already late morning, potentially some hail producers north and east of the Kansas City metro area, right near the southern Iowa, northern Missouri state line, the border there of the two states. As we go to the noon time frame, notice noon, 1 o'clock, we start to see an organized cluster or line of storms developing from around Waterloo all the way down here toward Ottumwa and in towards western Illinois, getting close to Hannibal and Quincy. The leading edge of this line could have some strong damaging winds attached to them, 60, perhaps 70-mile-per-hour winds and some quarter-size hail or larger. We know that some of these hail cores in this line could produce hailstones of over 2 inches in diameter. Also, an embedded tornado risk. There will be supercells likely embedded within this line at times, especially with southward extent, with more of that higher instability down here, especially into southeast Iowa, northeast Missouri, in this corridor here. We'll have to keep an eye on that. That could lead to some isolated spinning tornadoes here as we go through the day today, some spin-up tornadoes along the leading edge of this line. As we go deeper into 3 o'clock hour, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock here, notice we see storms developing here across portions of the Quad Cities region, back into Cedar Rapids and Iowa City, back into Macomb, Quincy, down here towards the St. Louis metro area around 3 o'clock. This is mid-afternoon. These storms, these preceding storms, will likely have severe weather warnings attached to them as we go through the morning hours, with some, again, all hazards on the table here. Damaging straight line winds over 60 miles per hour, 2-inch or larger diameter hailstones, hen egg size or larger, and an isolated tornado risk. The biggest tornado risk here today is actually going to not be with these preceding storms. It's going to be with these storms from Des Moines back down here towards Kirksville, Missouri, as they redevelop potentially mid to late afternoon here. Okay, so the big $1 million question is, how much does the atmosphere recover after this preceding line of storms right in this vicinity? How much does the atmosphere recover with that? Because if we see any sunshine in between these rounds in this vicinity, just for 30 minutes, 40, 50-minute time frame, this is going to rapidly destabilize the environment. We're going to see some rapid intensification of instability. The wind shear is already there, so then that means that if we see sunshine, even just a little bit, like I said, 30, 40, 50 minutes of sunshine, this is going to lead to rapid growth of supercells here near the Iowa-Missouri border, and these storms will actually grow upscale and start to move east-northeast quickly toward the Quad Cities region as we do go through the late afternoon and evening. Those storms would be the ones to produce the strong tornado risk. We're talking EF2, EF5 strength, the 70-mile-per-hour winds, and those golf ball-sized hailstones. So that would be the round with the most potent severe weather. So let's move this ahead here as we do go through the late afternoon. Notice these storms really start to grow here. I am also still concerned about a couple areas here across southwest Wisconsin, up there here into north central Illinois. Still some supercell structures here. I would say from around Prairie du Chien down to Platteville there, perhaps to Dubuque, Freeport, Illinois, down there toward Dixon, all the way down here into the Princeton area and also Peoria. We could have some supercell structures in here by about dinner time, 4, 5, and 6 o'clock. these storms would be capable of producing all modes severe weather. Again, very large hail, damaging winds, and an isolated tornado risk. But these storms behind the threat of severe weather that's preceding it, if we have any clearing in this vicinity near the Mississippi River, that's going to enhance these storms that develop back here in eastern Iowa, and a tornado risk, an attendant strong tornado risk will be there as we go through the dinner time frame. This is 6 o'clock here. Also, further to the south, what we're not talking about here as well, southern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, and into Arkansas, there will still be some isolated thunderstorms and supercells potentially down here from Springfield through St. Louis all the way down toward Little Rock in this vicinity. I do not think that the tornado threat is as great across this region as further north, because if you're further north, you're closer to the warm front. You have enhanced wind shear near the warm front, or what we call the triple point, where the warm front, the cold front, and the low pressure system move together. That is definitely a lot more wind shear further north. That's why the enhanced risk of severe weather and tornado activity is further north. But don't sleep on these storms down here. Springfield, St. Louis, down all the way through Cape Girardeau there into Missouri, the foothills there, Missouri, down into portions of like the Jonesboro, Arkansas area, maybe even the Little Rock area. While storms will be more isolated to widely scattered, I do actually think these storms could still pack a punch with some 60, 70 mile an hour winds, some quarter-size hail or larger, and even still a tornado risk with these storms as we do go through the afternoon and into the evening. So I did want to mention that. But the best dynamics, the best spin in the atmosphere is clearly up here into Iowa, northern, northeast Missouri, and into western and northwestern Illinois. We'll keep an eye on that. And then as we go through the evening here, notice those storms are still going strong here. So those storms are going to originate here. The second line of storms are going to originate potentially from Des Moines back down here through Kirksville, Missouri in this vicinity. They will spread north and eastbound towards the Mississippi River here, up toward Maquoketa, Dubuque, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, down to Davenport, Moline, Clinton, Iowa, those areas as we go through the dinner time frame. Those storms will be on up here in this vicinity as we go into that time frame, producing potentially a significant round of severe weather that will move through portions there of north central Illinois and southern Wisconsin after dinner. This is about 7, 8 o'clock. Still producing some stronger potentially tornadoes with this, but I think as we go deeper into the evening, this is going to turn more to a damaging wind and hail threat versus a tornado threat as they cross into Wisconsin there and northern Illinois. Another thing to note here is the warm frontal placement as we go into the 8 o'clock time frame. Let's go back to look at the dew points here. Notice the warm front hanging out here from around Milwaukee back through Madison and even the Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin region, kind of setting up something like this. Any storms north of that front are just going to be large hail producers. They're going to be elevated thunderstorms. And we're going to see just mainly large hail producers up here in central Wisconsin. And we still could see severe weather today in south central Wisconsin, north of Madison, but this will likely be an elevated large hail threat with quarter size, maybe $half size hail. The tornado threat is going to be surface based further south of the warm front and near the warm front there. So that is something that I want to note, that if you're north of the warm front, you're not going to see any rotating thunderstorms most likely. It's mainly going to be an elevated large hail threat. Zachary Smith, thank you for the $9.99. I'm about 30 minutes south of St. Louis. It looks like I'm good, right? Thank you for everything you do. Thank you so much, very much so, for your generosity and your $9.99. So you're talking about the St. Louis area. St. Louis does have a chance for severe weather as we do go through today. It's not the greatest chance of severe weather, as certainly not as intense as further to the north, but we'll look at the timing here for you in the St. Louis region. So let's back up the timing here to this morning, and you can see that as we go through the morning hours here and into the midday hours, this is 11 o'clock this morning. St. Louis is dry as we go into 1 o'clock. Storms are approaching St. Louis to the west, so like Jefferson City up there toward Hannibal and Quincy by about 1 o'clock this afternoon. St. Louis may have an isolated thunderstorm risk by about mid-afternoon, so 2 to 4 o'clock in that time frame. Watching out for severe weather there in St. Louis. This also does include the risk for all hazards, so tornadoes, damaging winds, and hail here, but I think the greatest tornado risk is well further to the north there of St. Louis, but still don't sleep on these storms in St. Louis region. Still could be tornadic, still could be very severe with damaging winds and hail. We'll definitely keep an eye on it, but the main time frame to watch there in Metro St. Louis is 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock there this afternoon for that line of storms. Again, thank you all for joining here this morning. We're doing live severe weather forecast of today. We have an enhanced risk of severe weather. If you're waking up, drinking coffee, eating breakfast, make sure again to like the live stream. Also, make sure to subscribe here to Weather on the Go. A complete weather forecast update video will be out late this morning, early this afternoon here around the noon time frame or give or take. We're going to be doing that. So we do daily weather forecast videos on this channel, live streams for severe weather forecasts, sometimes radar analysis forecasts for severe weather as well. And also we do hurricane live streams and winter weather live streams. So again, make sure you are a subscriber here to Weather on the Go so you see more future live streams and videos coming up as well. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. All right, if you guys have any questions, make sure to ask. Let's go through some of the questions we have in here. Could any of these storms, I don't know what that means, Kimberly, but that's an interesting question. Let's see here. Good morning from Georgia. Thank you, Todd and Greg, for joining. Appreciate it. How bad do you think it'll get for northeastern Illinois outside of Chicago? So let's zoom up here into northeastern Illinois. The storms won't be coming in until late today, so it'll be a peak daytime heating event for you. I can't rule out a shower or a storm in your area there in northeast Illinois, northwest of Chicago, through the noon or 1 o'clock time frame this afternoon. But the storms will be arriving, the first batch of storms, through about 4 or 5 o'clock this afternoon. So around the evening rush there in the Chicagoland area, even if you're in the suburbs, that's what we're looking at for timing. We could have some additional supercells depending on destabilization starting to develop back into Iowa. That would be the most significant round of storms. But notice as they move through Chicago, they're actually going to weaken as we go through the evening hours. So a lot of these lines of storms that are strong out in Iowa, out in Missouri, in western Illinois, or the far western Chicago suburbs, say west of I-39, there in north central Illinois, those storms will be strong there. But then as they move towards Cook County and they move towards the Chicago suburbs there, west, north suburbs, they'll be on a slight weakening trend, but they still could have some severe weather warnings, some tornado warnings attached to them. But mainly looking for Chicago at main threat here, damaging winds and large hail. But the tornado threat is still there for Chicago. You have a 2 to a 5% probability of tornadoes depending on your location in the Chicagoland area today. Thank you, Angel, for being here. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Jeff, good morning to you. Thoughts on Dubuque, Iowa area? Yes, Dubuque, you are actually in an enhanced risk for severe weather. I am concerned about the Dubuque area for severe weather today. You can see the storms are pretty quiet this morning, though a warm front will move north through the noon, 1 o'clock time frame through Dubuque. I can't rule out a stray shower or a severe thunderstorm through midday, but I think overall this is going to be mainly a quiet morning for you, an early afternoon. We're waiting west of Dubuque for the storms out in Waterloo, Ames down toward Des Moines and Ottumwa. Those storms will be lifting east-northeast bound toward Dubuque by about 2-3 o'clock this afternoon. So about 2 o'clock, I'd be looking at the radar there in Dubuque. Could be seeing some hefty thunderstorms off to your west there. Some of these storms could be packing a punch back toward Waterloo, and you can see some of these trying to bow out a little bit. That indicates some very strong damaging winds, 60, 70 miles an hour. Those will be moving toward Dubuque by about early afternoon, so be watching out for that around 2. Going into the 4 o'clock hour, that's when the storms really start to intensify toward the Dubuque area. Very large hail. We could be seeing 2-inch diameter hail or larger in Dubuque, Iowa. You have a chance for that. Strong tornadoes are possible. We could have an EF2, EF5 strength tornado at most as we go through today in this environment. And we also could be seeing those very strong, again, 60, 70 mile an hour winds. Now, here's the $1 million question for Dubuque, Iowa. You have one line of storms for sure coming through early mid-afternoon between about 2 and 5 o'clock. So about 2 and 5 o'clock, the first line of storms. Do we see sunshine? If you start seeing sunshine after these first rounds of storms move through Dubuque or Iowa City or Waterloo or Cedar Rapids area, that is going to rapidly destabilize the atmosphere, and we're going to see instability really start to climb. And that means supercell thunderstorms will fire back here again toward the Des Moines metro area, back through Ottumwa there and near the Iowa-Missouri border. Those will have a tendency to progress further off to the east-northeast and towards the Dubuque area by the dinner time frame. If this occurred By 6, 7 o'clock this evening would be your greatest chance for strong tornadoes, very large hail, and damaging straight line winds for Dubuque. So there could be a 1-2 punch here for the Dubuque area mid-afternoon or so, around 2 to 5 o'clock in kind of that general range, and then more of a confined timing of about 5 o'clock to 8 p.m. there in Dubuque for the second more potentially potent round of severe weather. So we'll keep an eye on that. So multiple kind of lines of supercells moving through as we go through the day today. We'll keep a close eye on that for sure. If you are here, make sure to like the live stream down below. Again, the more likes we get, the more people who are joining. I would love to see over 1,000 people live here with us this morning. So again, smash that like button, subscribe here to Weather on the Go. It really does help out more than you know, and you guys get daily weather forecast content on this channel just by doing so. So thank you so much. We're going to keep going through questions here, so hopefully I answered that. Yes, absolutely, Jeff. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you on your Tuesday. Any update on Wednesday's probabilities? There are severe weather potential there for Wednesday. Our main focus obviously is today, but we can look briefly here at the Wednesday setup. There is a slight risk of severe weather on Wednesday, tomorrow on the 17th of April, across portions there of the Detroit metro area down into Fort Wayne and Toledo. That extends down into the Bella Fountain area, into Columbus and Chillicothe, Cincinnati near Louisville, Indianapolis, and those areas there in towards Indiana. We have a slight risk of severe weather right now. This is mainly for damaging winds and hail, but a 5% chance of tornadoes does exist for tomorrow across portions there of the Detroit area. So if you live in Detroit, if you live into Toledo, if you live in Fort Wayne, up toward Lansing, you have a 5% chance of a tornado tomorrow. So again, potentially another busy day of severe weather on Wednesday here. It is severe weather season, folks. So again, this is why we do live stream coverage for severe weather forecasts and live radar analysis this time of year. Very, very busy weather time of year for sure in April. Thank you, Clark, for the $1. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your donation. Let's see here. Thanks for the $5. GirlDev994 for the 5. Appreciate your generosity. I live in Terre Haute, Indiana. Do you think I should worry about tornadoes here? What time should I watch? No, tornadoes for today in Terre Haute. These storms will be on a significant weakening trend as they push further east. I am most concerned about Iowa, northern Missouri, northwestern, and western Illinois for tornadoes today. As we mentioned, you see as these storms move towards Terre Haute here, they start weakening as we go through the evening. I can't rule out severe weather there of hail, damaging winds, but I think the tornado threat there in western Indiana is extremely low right now, around a 2% probability there, around the Illinois and Indiana state line. So we'll keep an eye on that. You're welcome, Craig. Thanks for being here. Let's see. What about Clinton, Iowa? We seem to miss the good ones. Clinton, Iowa is actually in the heart of the potential of severe weather today. You have an enhanced risk of severe weather. You have a 10% probability actually in the Clinton, Iowa area of a strong tornado today there. That would be EF2 strength or stronger. You also have a chance today of seeing some very large hailstones in excess of hen egg size. So we're talking some very large hail, potentially golf ball, tennis ball, baseball size hail today. So we'll keep an eye on that there into the Clinton, Iowa area. Beautiful city. I've been there several times. And actually, folks, if you guys don't know, again, my name is Hunter here, but I live in northern Illinois. And actually outside my window right now, the sun is out. So we don't like to see the sunshine this time of year, especially with severe weather days. This means instability will start to grow. So I live in northern Illinois, west of Chicago, and I'm definitely going to see some severe weather probably later today. So definitely keeping an eye outside my window as well. And I'm remaining weather aware just as you guys should too. So make sure that you guys remain weather aware, have multiple ways to receive warnings. I have a NOAA weather radio here with me as well. It's a very good tool to alert you for severe weather, even if it's at nighttime. So if like I'm sleeping at night, I have my NOAA weather radio on. I have it programmed right and correctly, and it wakes me up for tornado warnings. It's done that several times in the past. It's very loud, rightfully so. It's a great tool to have for severe weather. But yes, Clinton, Iowa, we're looking at some significant weather. And let's look here at the timing of the storms. Let's zoom in here to Clinton, Iowa. Let's see if we can find it here. There's Clinton, Iowa. So let's zoom in here and you can see. So let's look at the timing. Very zoomed in so we can see Clinton, Iowa for our main question we just had. So for the timing today, we got about, let's go to 1 o'clock. So 1 o'clock time frame, dry there in Clinton. As we go through the 2, 3 o'clock hours, severe weather is knocking on your doorstep. We could have some severe storms moving through in waves here. One between 2 and 5 o'clock there in Clinton, and then a potentially even stronger batch coming through early this evening between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. here this evening. And then after that, after 8 o'clock or so, we'll start to quiet down there in Clinton. So 2 rounds of storms. First round between 2 and 5, and then between 6 and 8 o'clock, potentially the second round, more potent line. That could produce strong tornadoes there and some very large hail with supercell thunderstorms near the Mississippi River there in Clinton, Iowa. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, folks, if you are just joining me, make sure to subscribe here to Weather on the Go and like the live stream. We're doing live severe weather forecasts here for today. There is an enhanced risk issued by the Storm Prediction Center across portions of the Midwest today, especially in eastern Iowa, southeast Iowa, northeastern Missouri, and into western and northwest Illinois. That's the main area of concern, and I'll pull that outlook up for you folks. The Storm Prediction Center just updated this at 8 o'clock here this morning, literally about an hour or so ago. The next update, folks, will actually be 11:30 this morning. So we'll have a new update. I'll have a video coming out for you on that. So again, make sure you are subscribed here. A video forecast will be out later on this morning and early this afternoon on this forecast. Geneseo, Illinois, home of the Maple Leafs. Let's go down here to Geneseo, and we can see that Geneseo is in that enhanced risk area right now. So you have a level 3 out of 5 for severe weather. You do also have a 10% chance of a strong EF2 or stronger variety tornado there into Geneseo this afternoon and evening. You also have a threat for some very large hail in Geneseo as well. We could be seeing hailstones over hen egg size, so up to tennis ball, golf ball size, baseball size, stuff like that. Definitely keeping a close eye on that. And then the wind threat is there. It's a 15% chance of some damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. The biggest threat here is strong tornadoes and also the potential for very large hail in Geneseo. Timing for Geneseo. Let's look at the timing here for you folks. There in Geneseo, Illinois, in the Anawan area, down there in Henry County, you can see we do have, let's see here. Let's go back to the 1 o'clock time frame. All right, so we do have storms moving into the Geneseo region between, again, 2 o'clock and it looks like 5 o'clock with the first line. Watching for the second line there around 6 to 8 o'clock, similar to Clinton, Iowa. So same timing, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. there for the first line of storms. That will be more widespread, more scattered activity, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Those storms could be very potent, potentially producing strong tornadoes between that time frame if we have any sunshine in that environment between these two batches of storms. We'll keep an eye on that. Otherwise, it'll just be one line of storms through the day. So 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. in Geneseo, and then 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. for the more potent line of potentially strong tornadoes today and some very large hail. All right. Thank you, Sean, for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you for your question. Anything for southwestern lower Michigan today or tomorrow? Southwestern lower Michigan needs to watch overnight. This is mainly going to be a heavy rainfall threat today and tonight. These storms won't be coming in towards Michigan until this evening, and they'll be on a weakening trend as they move east. But some heavier rain can be expected from Muskogee down to Kalamazoo there, even into South Bend, into Indiana, seeing some heavier rainfall there through the midnight time frame. Some smaller hail, gusty wind potential, maybe sub-severe winds under 60 miles an hour, 40, 50 miles an hour cannot be ruled out here, but I don't expect anything too terribly severe. I think tomorrow's threat for severe weather is greater. Look at this line of storms moving through late morning there into southwest lower Michigan. You can see about 11 a.m., noon time frame, all hazards on the table for tomorrow. You're actually under a 5% chance of a tornado there in southwestern lower Michigan tomorrow on Wednesday, so watch out for that. And again, I'll have a forecast video for you folks covering that later this morning, early this afternoon. So hang tight on that. I'll have more information as I get it. What time should you watch? In the Terre Haute region, I went over that several times. I saw, like, go down here to western Indiana. The Terre Haute region, we're watching this evening. So mainly between about 6 p.m. and midnight. So that 6-hour window there in Terre Haute. And honestly, don't be too worried down in Terre Haute. I really don't think Terre Haute is going to see that much energy available for significant severe weather. Could you see 60-mile-an-hour winds and quarter-size hail? Possibly. Will you see a tornado? More than likely not. So that is probably not going to happen today into the Terre Haute region. but definitely something to keep an eye on for sure. Still want to remain weather aware into that region as we go through the day. No worries, no worries. I was just mentioning sometimes I get overwhelmed with, same questions over and over again. I try to answer them as efficiently as I can, and then I have the same question again. So I'm just trying to make sure I get to as many questions as I can here. And answering the same questions doesn't help sometimes. But I do appreciate your questions, so thank you. Let's see here. West Central Illinois in the Quincy area. So let's go down here to Quincy, home of the Blue Devils. So let's go down here to Quincy, and we could see into the late morning hours. We do have a chance for a storm, but I think the main line of storms comes through around the noon time frame across portions of the Quincy and Hannibal region, for example, around noon to 1 o'clock. That first batch of storms comes through. It looks like that may be your only time frame for severe weather is early to mid-afternoon there in Quincy. So we're looking at around 1 o'clock to about 4 o'clock. Okay, so that 3-hour window there, 1 o'clock this afternoon through about 4 o'clock, give or take an hour, but that is what it's looking like here as of the latest data. 1 p.m. and then you see the strongest storms move through around 2, 3, and then they move out by about 4 o'clock there into the Quincy, Illinois region. Brandon Johnson, thanks for joining. What is Cedar Rapids looking like? Sure, let's go up here to Cedar Rapids, and we can see up here. Right now it's dry. Going through the morning, can't rule out a shower or storm. It looks like the main activity is going to come through in a couple waves. Cedar Rapids by about 1 o'clock. So the first batch between 1 and 4, same thing there. Stronger storms will be pushing through as we go deeper into the afternoon. And then, do we see sunshine mid-afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock? If we do in Cedar Rapids, rapid destabilization and a second, more potent line of storms that could carry a strong tornado risk with it. Those tornadoes could be strong EF2s or stronger. Very large hail, up to potentially baseball size in some of these areas, and 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts will be a threat if we see some destabilization. Otherwise, this will be your main chance for severe weather between 1 p.m. and 4 o'clock there this afternoon. The second line is highly dependent, highly conditional upon if we see sunshine and destabilization this afternoon. Tony with the 199. Thank you for the 199, Tony. I appreciate your generosity. There's a gale warning for the entire North Shore of Lake Michigan. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Yes, that means there's some very strong winds. This storm is packing a punch with strong winds. So even outside of any thunderstorm activity, and I'm glad Tony brought that up, is that outside of any thunderstorms, we do have some strong winds today. So wind gusts are going to be over 30, potentially over 40 miles per hour, even outside of any thunderstorms. So do make sure that if you have any loose objects, soccer balls or any table umbrellas or flag poles or anything that gets really windy and kind of ruins those things and blows them around, make sure to secure those objects as we go through the day, because not only outside of thunderstorms we'll have strong winds, but also within the thunderstorms itself we could be seeing some strong winds as well. Again, folks, we are on the road to 100,000 subscribers here on this channel on Weather on the Go. Again, my name is Hunter, and I do live in Northern Illinois here in the Midwest. I am being affected by the severe weather today. Again, if you are just joining, so yes, we got a very interesting day ahead. This is one of the bigger severe weather events we have seen here in Northern Illinois in quite some time, since last fall or summer. So definitely something to keep an eye on as we do go through the day. Let's see here. Northwestern Arkansas. We can go down to northwestern Arkansas real quick here. So going into like the Fayetteville and Fort Smith region, so in Rogers. So looking at timing here for Arkansas, it looks like storms start to fire mainly east of you. So if like you're actually legit in northwest Arkansas in like the Rogers area, Fayetteville down to Fort Smith, you may not see a single drop of rain today. Storms may fire off to your east through about the 1-2 o'clock time frame and actually move quickly east toward Jonesboro and Little Rock through the evening. So you're kind of the initiation point for storms today. So you may not see anything. And it's pretty scattered in Arkansas. Not everybody will see a storm today, and not everybody will see severe weather. It's going to be pretty scattered. I would say about 5 to 10% of you in Arkansas will even see any type of severe weather or even thunderstorm in general for the day today. So something to keep in mind there. Again, if you're joining, make sure to press the like button, folks. We're doing live severe weather coverage and forecasts here, answering questions on the live stream. The more likes we get, the more people who join and also subscribe to the channel. We'll do a video forecast for you later this morning and early this afternoon, as we always do on this channel, detailed, accurate weather forecasts. Crystal Lake, Illinois. Yeah, let's go up here to northeastern Illinois up here. I believe you're in McHenry County, so let's go up here into Crystal Lake, Illinois. And I don't know if I can zoom in quite to Crystal Lake here. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I don't think I can find it, but you get the idea here. You can see Rockford, Illinois right there, Marengo over toward Algonquin, Illinois. So we're going to give you the general timing there. The Crystal Lake area is just probably north and east there of Marengo up toward Woodstock as well. So you can get an idea here. Most of the morning and the afternoon will be dry. Now, I cannot rule out an isolated shower or storm for you folks in Crystal Lake through the early afternoon hours. That is possible. If you do see a shower or storm, and if it is a thunderstorm, you could have some hail producers with that, maybe up to quarter size. Going through the late afternoon, we're talking 4, 5 o'clock. It looks like about 5 o'clock, you get the first line of storms to move through, maybe a secondary line around dinner time or shortly thereafter. That could be your most potent line of storms with this storm between about 6 and 8 o'clock. So your first line coming through in Crystal Lake between 4 and 6 p.m., a little bit of a break, and then the second more potent line coming through between 6 and 8 o'clock. And then I can't rule out an isolated storm later this evening, but I think that's the main area there. 2 lines of storms, one between about 4 and 6, and then we have more of that 6 to 8 time frame. We're going to kind of go with that. Thank you, Tom. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yes, Clark, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to everybody for joining. Jefferson City, Missouri. So we got a question about Jefferson City's timing. So let's go down here to central Missouri. So Jefferson City down here, south of Columbia, and west of St. Louis. You can see timing for you. You're only going to see one shot at severe weather today, and it's very soon. It's already 9:22 a.m. Central Time, and we are basically looking at the 1 o'clock time frame. So that's kind of your timing there. It looks like between about noon and 2, but generally around that 1 o'clock time frame on average for severe weather. It's going to be very spotty, but if you get under one of those stronger thunderstorm cores or cells, we could be seeing some large hail and some tornado potential there for Jefferson City, even up toward Columbia there as we go through the early afternoon. So in a few hours from now, essentially you could be seeing severe weather potentially in Jefferson City. We'll keep an eye on that for you. Let's see here. Debbie, I live in Cedar Rapids. How is it going to be there? So let's go up here to Cedar Rapids. We've mentioned it a couple times. We could do it again here real quick. And again, thank you for the $4.99, Debbie. I appreciate your generosity and kindness this morning. So looking here at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, looks like the leading edge of our showers and storms. A nice line of storms developing there in central Iowa back toward Ames and Des Moines. The leading edge of that will be moving into Cedar Rapids early this afternoon, noon to 1 o'clock. Those storms will be moving through with peak intensity around 3 o'clock with the first line. So that's with the most intense there. So mid-afternoon in Cedar Rapids, and then we'll see if we can get sunshine. If we see sunshine in Cedar Rapids there to Iowa City and Waterloo, and after those storms move through early to mid-afternoon, then we'll see rapid intensification of some supercells with very large hail and a tornado risk, even a strong tornado risk across the eastern side of the metro of Des Moines. That will be spreading up towards Cedar Rapids quickly by the dinner time frame, and we could be talking about some really intense storms there, and that's really highly conditional and dependent on if we see sunshine and any rapid stabilization of the environment. Here we have very strong low-level wind shear, very nice moisture advection, dew points in the 60s today. We have a June-type atmosphere this afternoon, definitely ripe for severe weather up across this region. So yes, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, and Waterloo, those 3 cities will do it all together here with this timing. So it looks like for Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, and Iowa City, 1 p.m. to 3 o'clock is your first round of storms. Second round of storms between 5 p.m. and 8 o'clock. Okay, so that's what you're looking at. 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock for the Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City area with the first line. Second, potentially more intense batch of storms, highly dependent on instability recovery, and that will be for the 4 o'clock or so time frame onward through 8. So we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you, Jason, for the $5 generous donation. I really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are so generous this morning. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Again, good morning to everybody out there. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel down below. We are on the road to 88,000 subscribers, but ultimately to 100,000 here. I would love to hit that by June 1st, and you guys can help me get there by subscribing to the channel, getting the word out on this channel as well, and also liking the live stream. It really does help out more than you know. Good morning. It is sunny in Madison, Wisconsin. What are the main severe weather threats? Reese, thank you so much for joining. Yes, we don't want to see the sunshine up there in Madison, Wisconsin. That is actually not good news. The warm front is actually going to be placed very close to southern Wisconsin there. We'll see how far north it can get. This particular model, we can go back to look at the dew point temperatures here. And the warm front is actually going to be lifting into the Madison area around late afternoon, early evening here. And that's when some of those peak daytime heating storms will be moving through. And that's what we're kind of worried about here for the potential of severe weather there in southern Wisconsin. Those storms could really start to pack a punch there. Madison on southward toward Rockford, Illinois, and Dubuque. The warm front setting up near you, that's kind of more of a precarious location because tornadoes love warm fronts. We've already seen that in Indiana and Ohio, unfortunately, back in February and March. And definitely the warm front is definitely a place to watch, especially with a strengthening, more mature low-pressure surface cyclone as we go through the day here back into Iowa. Whenever you have a stronger low-pressure system and a strengthening low back into Iowa, Minnesota, western Wisconsin in April, mid-April, that's when you have to watch for severe weather there in southern Wisconsin. So we'll watch you. Looking at the timing here into Madison. So let's move up into the Madison region here. And this does include the University of Wisconsin as well. So if you know any folks there that go to the University of Wisconsin, give them a heads up for severe weather potential today. Mid-afternoon, looks like about 4 or 5 o'clock or so. Storms rolling in, more intense storms potentially by dinner time, 6, 7 o'clock, and then a secondary line potentially, highly dependent again, if we see more sunshine after the preceding line of storms, we could be seeing that through the mid-evening. So the first line moving through between 4 p.m. and 8 o'clock, second line potentially between 9 and 11. So that's what we're seeing there in Madison, and that does include the University of Wisconsin up there as well. Sabula, Iowa, I believe, let me see here. Let me look it up real quick. I believe Sabula, Iowa, if hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I believe that is just off of the Mississippi River there. Okay, yes, you're right there north of Clinton, Iowa. So yeah, up just east of Maquoketa here. Your timing for storms, we'll look at that there in Sabula. It looks like most of the day dry until the afternoon. It looks like about 2 o'clock storms will be knocking on your doorstep there in Sabula. And those storms could be packing a punch through the evening hours there. So about 2 o'clock to about 6 p.m., first window of storms. Secondary, potentially more potent line of storms between 7 and 10 o'clock there as we go through the evening. So we'll keep an eye on that. Looks like 2 lines of storms. And all hazards are on the table there in Sabula. Strong, violent tornadoes potentially today. We have some 60 to 70 mile an hour winds and hail that could be up to around baseball size. Definitely a possibility in Sabula later today. Sun is shining in Chicago? Yes, absolutely. I live in northern Illinois. Sun, it is full sunshine outside. Some high-level clouds. I just looked out my window before I did the live stream anyway. And yes, I live west of Chicago. There is sunshine outside as well, and that is actually not good. We don't like to see the sun on severe weather days. These type of days for severe weather, we like to see low clouds, a lot of cloudy conditions, drizzle and showery activity to kind of tamper that severe weather threat. Unfortunately, we're not seeing that right now. So hopefully the clouds can work in and can kind of hold down the severe weather threat from becoming intense this afternoon and evening. That is the hope, but right now the sun is shining here in northern Illinois. Can I check the, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but yes, I can check that there in Missouri real quick for you. I don't want to mispronounce that. You are just to the south of St. Louis, so we'll look there just south of St. Louis for you there. Again, we're looking mainly at scattered activity near St. Louis and southward. The timing here for St. Louis and areas around the metro and just northwest, east, south of St. Louis in general, we're looking at mid-afternoon through early evening here for the timing, okay? So that's what we're looking at for some storm activity. Really looking at 4 p.m. to about 8 o'clock this evening. That's main timing there for the St. Louis area and surrounding areas, all the smaller cities there in the St. Louis region. O'Fallon as well, O'Fallon, Illinois, that is also in play for severe weather. It's going to be more scattered, not as widespread down here in the St. Louis region. Waynesville, Missouri. Absolutely. I can check Waynesville, Missouri real quick. So you're north and east there of Springfield. Yes, your threat for severe weather is very soon, and it's actually not great. You don't have a great threat for severe weather today, and honestly, you might not even have a drop of rain in your area today there into the Waynesville region. If you do have severe weather, it'll be in literally the next few hours. Otherwise, that's it for you today. Looks like between noon and 3 o'clock is your time frame to watch. Otherwise, you're not going to have any severe weather today, and you may not even see a drop of rain. So it's not a guarantee. It looks like about a 30% chance of a storm today into the Waynesville, Missouri area as it looks. Again, thank you guys for joining. Smash that like button, everybody. We only have 417 likes here. Make sure let's get those likes up to 500, folks. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel down below here to Weather on the Go. I really do appreciate that. We are almost to 87,400. We are actually 8 people away from getting to that point. Thank you again for being here. I see Fort Madison, Iowa. So let's go here and look at Fort Madison, Iowa for a question here in the chat. Again, I'm kind of looking some of these smaller towns up because I don't exactly know where all of these are. So you're just between Keokuk and Burlington, Iowa. So in southeast Iowa, yes, you have a threat for severe weather today. Very significant as well for your area there. There's Davenport. You're just south and west of there in southeast Iowa. It looks like your main time frame to watch is 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock for the first round of storms. Second, more potent round of storms. Look at that. You can see purples and blues showing up. That is an intense supercell. If that does occur, then sure, we could definitely be seeing some real strong storms by about early evening. So again, first timing for you there into the Fort Madison area, 1 p.m. to about 4 o'clock. And then the second more potentially potent round with strong tornado risk, very large hail up to baseball size, and 60 to 70 mile an hour wind potential will be around the 6 to 8 o'clock time frame. Okay, so remember that 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. first round, more intense line between about 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. there into your area. Joplin, you're not going to really see anything today down here, so that's some good news. Your chance was yesterday. You're not going to see anything today. Joplin is going to remain bone dry through the entire day, so you're good there. Joplin, you're looking great. No severe weather for you. Thank you, Ashes, for the $5 donation. How is Naperville, Illinois going to be? So the Chicago suburb here along I-88 over here into the Joliet, Aurora, Naperville area and Kankakee. Looks like this area there, and I'll zoom it in here to Naperville if I can. There's Naperville. So there's Naperville, Bolingbrook, Oswego, Batavia, and Wheaton, Tinley Park, Orland Park, and Oak Lawn. Some of these areas impacted. It looks like your storms will start to increase chances for about 3-4 o'clock this afternoon. So we'll go with 4. It looks like 4 o'clock with the first line of storms through about 6 o'clock, and then a more potent line coming through between about 6 and 9 o'clock there into the Naperville region. And it will bring all hazards, tornadoes, damaging winds, and large to very large hail as a possibility with all of those lines of storms. So mainly the afternoon and evening, there'll be a couple waves of showers and storms moving through your area. Will Thunder Bay, Ontario be okay? Yes, you guys are not going to see any severe weather anytime soon. How does it look in Lafayette, Indiana? So let's go down here into Indiana, the Lafayette region, just north and west of of Indianapolis here. So let's look at the timing of storms here. It's going to be an overnight setup for the most part, after like evening overnight. The main line of storms doesn't really come through, and it's in a weakening trend into Lafayette. Like I was mentioning earlier with a couple of questions from Indiana, a lot of these storms will be on a weakening trend as they move closer toward Indianapolis and Lafayette here, the Terre Haute region as well, and Bloomington. These storms will be on a weakening trend. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 60-mile-per-hour wind gust report or a quarter-size hail report, maybe an isolated tornado report out of this. But I honestly do think the more dynamic weather is in Iowa today, Missouri, and into north central and western Illinois. We'll keep an eye on that. But the Lafayette area looks like storms about mid-evening through about the late evening. So 9 p.m. to midnight is kind of your main time frame to watch for the most significant weather for today. So literally late evening after dark is your main time frame to watch. Jason, $5. Humboldt, Iowa seems pretty cool with low dew points for much severe weather. Your thoughts? Well, yes. Right now the dew points are low, and I'll kind of go back to show you here, and let me look up where Humboldt, Iowa is, just for reference here, and then we'll answer your question. All right, so let's look here, see where Humboldt, Iowa is. You are north and west of Des Moines. That's why you're actually, it's north of Fort Dodge. So you're up in northern Iowa. That's why you have low dew points this morning, because the warm front is further to your south. Notice here this morning, it's not 10 o'clock yet here, and for another 24 minutes or so, 24 minutes or so, you can see that the warm front is still to your south here. Okay, so Fort Dodge, like up in this area here, the warm front is still to your south down near Des Moines. That warm front will slowly be advancing further to the north as we do go through the late morning into the afternoon. This will then increase dew points into the 50s, if not the 60s, across much of Iowa through the day. So as we go through the morning, look at that. We have the Fort Dodge area starts to get more muggy, more moisture in the environment by about, the 1 o'clock hour. And we start to see more of those 60-degree dew points up there into about the mid-afternoon. So you're going to see a change in the environment. But the most notable change in the environment today will actually be near the Mississippi River, back here into northwestern and western Illinois, east central Iowa, southeast Iowa, and into northeast Missouri. Mid-60 dew points. Look at this, folks. Dew points up to 67 degrees there in southeastern Iowa, outside of Keokuk, up into the Fort Madison region. Those areas, we'll be seeing some really high dew points for the mid-April timeframe. Today is only the 16th of April, and we are seeing dew points this high. This does spell out the risk for severe weather, and that's the area I'm most concerned with currently this morning. So, but I do think the Humboldt area is in line for severe weather. The most significant severe weather will be further to your east. The low pressure is actually going to pass literally like right over Fort Dodge, Iowa, pretty much with this storm. So the main dynamics will be on the eastern quadrant or northeastern quadrant of this low pressure system. What about Chesterfield, Missouri? So let's look here at Chesterfield, Missouri, and then we'll look at see if we can find some new data here as we're looking at the 12Z data. We're going to look at the new the new models here that are just coming in. Yeah, same thing, St. Louis area. You have a very narrow time frame for severe weather. It's not going to be a definite slam dunk for severe weather down here into the Chesterfield area or into St. Louis proper. We could be seeing potentially some scattered supercells. Again, all modes of severe weather, tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail will be in play. Your time frame here is mid to late afternoon. So that's what you're looking at. And really a general timing, 3 o'clock to about 7 o'clock. That's pretty much what we're looking at for the Chesterfield region. That's what we're looking at for Chesterfield. Again, just joining, make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. We only have 481 likes. Let's get those likes up. The more likes we get, the better. I really do appreciate it. Yes, Ohio will get storms Wednesday into Thursday. Man, I got my days mixed up. Thank you, Snowies, for being here. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Snowies, for modding and being here as always. You have to go to work. Have a great day at work today. Happy Tuesday to you. Happy Tuesday to everybody. Thank you. Again, a video forecast will be out late this morning and early this afternoon on this severe weather potential. So make sure, if you are new here, to subscribe to the channel. We will be doing a video forecast on this channel mostly every day through the entirety of 2024 and beyond. We do live stream coverage of severe weather, the hurricane season, including tropical storms and hurricanes, also some winter weather as well. So make sure, again, to subscribe to this channel. We do lots of great content here, accurate weather forecast on this channel for sure, and we'll keep you covered throughout the year. We are on the road to 100,000 subscribers here, folks, and you can help me get there by each and every one of you subscribing to the channel right now. Thank you. Carol, thanks for joining. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning to you, Carol. Greene County, Wisconsin timing. So let's go up here into Greene County. So the Janesville, Monroe area up into this region here. It looks like mid-afternoon into the evening hours. So the first line will come through Greene County between about 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock here this evening. And if we see some sunshine there in Greene County later on today, like around the dinner time frame, we could have a more potent line of storms move through the Madison area down to Janesville, Monroe, over toward Platteville and Beloit, Wisconsin, through around the mid-evening hours. So your main time frame here, 3 o'clock to about 6 o'clock, and then you're looking at about 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock for your second round of storms there in Greene County, Wisconsin. Thank you for joining from Western Iowa. I appreciate it. Macomb, Illinois. Daniel, thanks for joining from Macomb in Western Illinois. Yes, you have a chance for some significant severe weather. We have the first round of storms coming through around 2 o'clock this afternoon through about 4 o'clock, and we may have a second more potent line of storms coming through around early evening. And let's actually see if we can get a new run here of any of the models on here. I think this is as far as it goes so far. So we only have 12Z data on here so far. I was hoping the HRRR would update. It has not updated quite yet. Yes, Carol, looks like a very active day for you up there in Greene County, Wisconsin. And actually, probably some much needed rainfall. Beneficial rains for you up there in Greene County. I know it's pretty dry, at least down into Grant County and Crawford County over there in southwest Wisconsin, Prairie du Chien, down towards Dubuque, Iowa, Platteville. Those areas are very dry. We have some severe and moderate drought ongoing. A lot of those areas there in southern and southwestern Wisconsin will actually be getting some beneficial rains from the storm, regardless of severe weather potential, over the next 24 to 48 hours. Hey, Jay Ray, thanks for joining. Hello from Western Michigan. Yes, severe weather potential for you as we go into tomorrow. What about Sterling? Are you talking about Sterling, Illinois, home of the Golden Warriors? Let's go over here to Sterling, Illinois. So we're looking here at Sterling, Illinois in Whiteside County. We are definitely seeing the potential for some severe weather as we go into the afternoon. The first line of storms in Sterling in the Rock Falls, Illinois region, we could be seeing here across the Sauk Valley. Mid-afternoon, looks like about 3 o'clock. We're seeing those storms moving in, and then the second more potent line comes through about 6 o'clock. So 3 to 6 o'clock time frame for that, and then maybe a secondary line that is kind of on a weakening trend through the mid-evening hours, but definitely seeing a couple lines of storms coming through. 3 to 6 p.m. is the time to watch, and then maybe into the mid-evening hours around 9 o'clock. I think after 10 o'clock this evening, we can wave goodbye to those showers and storms there from Sterling, Illinois. So thank you again for joining. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, no worries, John Smith. Absolutely. I have family members that actually live up in that region there in southwestern Wisconsin. How does New Lisbon, Wisconsin look? Let me look here at New Lisbon, Wisconsin. Real quick. Yeah, you're too far north for severe weather today. You may see a storm that may produce some hail but it's mainly going to be a heavy rainfall threat for you up there and some beneficial rains again for Wisconsin. I know Wisconsin overall has been very dry. Southeast Minnesota, northeastern Iowa, we got severe extreme drought there toward Waterloo. We're going to see some nice beneficial rains regardless of severe weather potential today. This is going to be some nice rain for us into these areas. So New Lisbon, mainly looking at rounds of heavy rain and some thunderstorm activity, some stronger storms, some gusty winds, some small hail, but nothing too overly severe that I'm concerned about up there into central Wisconsin. It's mainly Madison on south is what I'm looking at here in Wisconsin for severe weather today, at least the significant severe weather potential. Yeah, absolutely, John. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Hey, from Ankeny, Iowa. 4 hours of sleep and ready to chase. 4 hours of sleep. Wow, you definitely gonna have to eat some food to get some energy today, man. I can't function off 4 hours of sleep. I need at least 6 to 7 hours. Peru, Illinois. So the LP area down here into LaSalle County. So let's go down here into Peru, Illinois. Looks like storms knocking on your doorstep around 3 o'clock this afternoon. More potent line coming through potentially about early evening. So about 3 to 8 p.m. is your time frame to watch there in Peru. 3 o'clock this afternoon and 8 o'clock here this evening. All modes of severe weather, 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, some hailstones of quarter size or larger, and also a couple isolated tornadoes will be possible between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Peru and LaSalle, Illinois, and LaSalle County here this afternoon and evening. Again, thank you for joining. Yeah, no need to be scared, everybody. Again, this is severe weather season. There are going to be severe weather concerns, but there's no need to be scared. Just be prepared for severe weather because, it's always good to have a no weather radio. Definitely a very good tool in waking you up even during the day if you're taking a nap during the day or like in the afternoon or even taking a nap in the evening or going to bed. It's a great device to wake you up for severe weather warnings and especially for those tornado warnings here that we could be seeing later today. How does Lincoln, Illinois look? Let's go down here to central Illinois, Lincoln, Illinois area. And I honestly don't remember exactly where that is. So let me look it up here real quick for you. I know it's in central Illinois, but I don't know exactly where it would be. So you are north and west of Decatur. So you're kind of in this vicinity here. Okay, there's Lincoln. All right, so Lincoln, Illinois. We're looking at a time frame later on this afternoon between, I would say, 3 o'clock and the same thing actually here. It looks like 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock is your time frame. I wouldn't rule out a storm even as late as 10 o'clock this evening, but it looks like the same thing as LaSalle and in the Peru, Illinois region up there in LaSalle County. We are actually looking at 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. for a time frame there in Lincoln, Illinois. So all modes again of severe weather will be possible. 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, isolated tornadoes, and some quarter-size hail or larger there in Lincoln, Illinois today. 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Again, thanks for joining, everybody. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel and also like the live stream. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Thanks for streaming. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Good morning to you. Thoughts on Northwest Indiana? I anticipate the storms will weaken as they move east. You thought correctly. Yes, they will be weakening as they move into northwestern Indiana there toward Gary and South Bend, Indiana here. The storms won't be arriving till late afternoon, probably even more so into the evening hours. They really won't be moving in till about 6, 7 o'clock there in northwest Indiana. And notice these lines as they move through. They'll still be packing a punch with some heavy rain, some frequent lightning and stuff like that. But from an overall severe weather standpoint, it doesn't look to be overly significant. We still could be seeing those 60 mile per hour winds and a spot or two, quarter-size hail and a spot or two, and maybe an isolated tornado threat there as we get closer to the Illinois state line there in northwest Indiana. But other than that, we're not seeing anything overly significant that we need to be concerned about from a severe weather standpoint there in northwest Indiana. But again, it's always good if you're even just close enough to severe weather, you need to continue to watch it. It's not always an exact science. Sometimes these models can be wrong, and we've seen them be wrong in the past. So just make sure to remain weather aware as we go through the afternoon and evening there, even in northwestern Indiana, and we'll keep you covered. Is DeKalb, Illinois going to get hit? Love the live stream. Thank you so much. Yes, Vinny, let's go up here to DeKalb and Sycamore area up here in DeKalb County. We can see there's Rochelle, the infamous Rochelle Fairdale tornado. Actually, at this time, back in 2015, April 9th, 2015, we had an EF4 tornado originate back here into the Lee County area there, into northeastern Lee County, and actually moved through Rochelle and up toward Fairdale there, actually producing widespread significant damage. Hopefully we don't see the repeat of that today, and the potential is mainly west of I-39, but let's look here at the potential for severe weather there in DeKalb. So we're looking at 4 o'clock this afternoon for the start time, and it looks like a couple waves move through of severe weather potential here. You're not cleared for severe weather till about 10 o'clock this evening. So 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. is your main time frame to watch there in DeKalb, and some of the more intense storms will be in and around the dinner time frame, 5, 6, 7 o'clock for the most intense, but a general time frame between about 4 and 10 p.m. And again, all modes of severe weather will be possible in DeKalb, tornadoes, and some 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, and also some quarter-size hail or larger will definitely be a possibility there in the Sycamore area in DeKalb, over there toward Rochelle, and then up there toward Genoa and Kingston, Illinois as well. Thank you, David, for being here as well. New to the channel, what does I-70 Eastern Illinois look like today? Thank you. Absolutely. Let's go down here to try and find that real quick for you. There's I-70 down there in Eastern Illinois, down toward Effingham, Charleston, and towards Terre Haute. Right now, it looks like mainly a dinner time event, a dinner time onward event. So we're looking at the evening hours. Looks like between about 5 p.m. and about 10 p.m. is your main time frame of concern there into the I-70 corridor, especially there between Effingham and Terre Haute. That's what we're looking at. 5 p.m. or so to about 10 p.m. And again, all modes of severe weather, including tornadoes, will be possible there as well. You live in Lockport, Illinois, over by Chicago. Looks like it could get dicey later. Yes, so if we're zooming into the Chicagoland area here, you can see it looks like the timing for the general Chicagoland area is late afternoon into the mid-evening hours. So generally speaking, anywhere, even the northern, western, southern suburbs or Chicago proper, it's mainly general timing late afternoon through mid-evening. But if you want a specific timing, it looks like between 4 p.m. and about 10 p.m. is your window of opportunity there as well for significant severe weather. So we'll keep an eye out to the sky there. Into the Lockport, Illinois region. Rockford, Illinois. Yes, up here into Rockford, Illinois, the Highway 20 corridor. We definitely have up in Winnebago County, we have the potential for severe weather today. It looks like around 3 o'clock. So 3 o'clock through around 10 p.m. is your time frame to watch as you go up here into Rockford, Illinois, and Winnebago County. So 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., we could be seeing all modes again for severe weather. Damaging winds, 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, quarter-size hail or larger, and a few tornadoes will be possible there in Rockford, Illinois later on today. Thank you for joining. Let's go back out here to the west to the Ames, Iowa region. So let's go back out here into central Iowa. This is an earlier day event out here for Iowa. We're actually seeing a batch of storms moving into western Iowa now. These will move through midday, and some severe weather will be possible through the early afternoon. The Ames, Iowa region could get pretty significant around noon to 2 o'clock in that time frame. And then storms move east. Ames, Iowa will then potentially be the initiation point of significant supercells that could produce strong tornadoes, very large, up to baseball size hail and 70 mile an hour wind gusts late this afternoon, if and only if we see some sunshine and stabilization of the atmosphere and environment back here into eastern Iowa. We could see those supercells grow in intensity from Ames up toward Marshalltown late this afternoon. So your window of opportunity between now and about 2 p.m. and then the secondary opportunity of more potentially intense significant supercells will be between about 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock here this evening. What does the cap mean? So, okay, so explaining to you folks what, if you guys have ever heard what a cap is, or a capping inversion, or what you call a lid on the atmosphere, you have very warm surface temperatures. So if you walk outside today, you're like, okay, it's 75 degrees, for example, right? So if you walk outside today in Des Moines or Davenport, Iowa, and you're like, okay, it's 75 degrees outside, that's where we live, at the surface. If you go up in the atmosphere naturally cools, right? And that's what creates clouds sometimes. And the faster it cools, the more unstable it is. Well, when you have a cap on the atmosphere, you have a shallow, warm layer aloft, just a few thousand feet up above our heads, right? Into the lower part of the atmosphere. When you have that shallow, warm layer aloft, you can't create a lot of clouds sometimes. And honestly, it suppresses thunderstorms and thus severe weather potential from occurring because of that warm layer aloft. If you remove that, think of it as like a pot of boiling water. If you put the lid on the pot of boiling water, the steam doesn't come out, right? It doesn't want to rise. It rises, but it can't get past that lid, right? If you kind of take that lid off, even just slowly, the steam starts to come out and rises. That's what the atmosphere is doing with a cap, okay? So if you have a cap on the atmosphere, it's like a lid. But when you take that lid off, all that steam can rise, and the air parcels, the instability is going to rise. Those air parcels are going to rise, and that's what the instability does. The stronger the instability, the more we have the potential for severe weather, is what that basically means. So a cap on the atmosphere is essentially you have warm surface temperatures, and then you have a shallow, warm layer aloft, maybe just a few thousand feet above your head, and that is basically what a cap or a capping inversion or a lid on the atmosphere essentially is. A lot of hype. No, this storm is, I'm not even going to respond to it. Evansville, Indiana. So let's go down here into southwestern Indiana here to the Evansville and Owensboro region. And let's go and look at the timing here for storms. You're also going to be on a weakening trend for showers and storms as we go into the evening. And it's the evening they'll be watching here. Pretty unfavorable time of day for severe weather in Evansville today, mainly around 11 p.m. or midnight. So that's pretty much the main timing there in Evansville. And that'll mainly be for heavy rain, some smaller hail, nothing too significant there. I'm sorry, folks. I just don't like when people say it's a lot of hype. When the Storm Prediction Center puts out an outlook, they put out an outlook because of the potential today of what the atmosphere could do. And then you get people that come in here and then say, this storm's hype. Well, the reasoning for this channel is to, educate about weather and kind of understand these setups. So like in the future, when these storms occur, and if they're similar, then we know what could happen with these storms. Okay. That's what we try to do on this channel. We also try to inform you folks on this channel for the potential. That's why we, express that word so strongly, the potential for severe weather. You probably hear me say that a million times, even during my weather videos. I say severe weather potential. I never say severe weather expected unless I actually think that severe weather is expected. Notice I haven't said today at all that severe weather is expected. I only said severe weather potential, or maybe severe weather is likely or possible. So that's what we stress here with the wording of when we talk about severe weather. And so when we have people coming in here talking about like how the storm is all hype and everything, this is people that are in the path of these storms. And severe weather is dangerous. Large hail up to baseball size is dangerous. EF2 to EF5 tornadoes are dangerous. An EF0 tornado is dangerous. 60 to 70 mile an hour winds are dangerous. So I'm not going to sit here and preach about that because of a couple people that decided to come into the chat and say that this storm is all hype. Could it be? It possibly could be. We may not get a single severe thunderstorm warning today. Very well. I mean, every storm is different, but I don't like hearing that because every single severe weather event, I don't care if you're in a marginal risk of severe weather. Tomorrow, for example, a slight risk. People would look at that and say, well, tomorrow's not really looking like an outbreak. To be quite honest with you, a slight risk of severe weather, we could have 7 tornadoes tomorrow from Detroit all the way to Indianapolis. That could happen. There's a 5% chance of severe weather and tornadoes tomorrow. So That's why we inform on this channel. I just wanted to get that out and let you guys know that we'll always put you guys first here on this channel and inform you and educate you on what severe weather does, what it can do, and so you guys can understand it better. So I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being here. Man, I'm sorry, folks. It's just sometimes it gets to me, and I shouldn't worry about it, but unfortunately, we have people out there that just don't care. It is what it is. Let's see here. I don't know what about your question there, David. You're probably talking about a QLCS line of storms. That's just a quasi-linear convective system. It's a form of a squall line, basically. And those are the line. That's kind of what we're seeing today, with mainly the potential for rotating thunderstorms, like with supercells embedded within this line of storms. That's kind of what we're seeing for today. Is kind of like a QLCS line of storms. Again, folks, just joining, make sure to press the like button and subscribe. We'll keep you informed and educated, like I just mentioned here on this channel. I really appreciate it. A video forecast will be out here momentarily later this morning. I'll be going hard to work at that here very, very shortly after the live stream is over. St. Paul and up there toward Rochester, Minnesota. You guys are on, I guess, so-called the cold side of the storm. It's not really a cold side of the storm. It's just you're not on the severe weather. You're not technically in the warm sector. So technically you're in the cold sector of the storm. So just some stratiform rain, some thunder and lightning, some heavy rain, and some smaller hail. But anything severe up there in the St. Cloud, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the Twin Cities region, or even Rochester, Minnesota, really going to be limited today. And I guess if you wanted to pick one of the cities that have the higher chance of severe weather, it would be Rochester, Minnesota. Minneapolis, St. Paul, and St. Cloud, you guys aren't going to see any severe weather most likely through the day today. Any insight on storm chasing? Yes. Be professional storm chaser, or don't try to chase storms. Storm chasing is very dangerous. You want to be as educated as you possibly can. And you definitely want to be educated, because if you are driving and you think you can try to find a tornado and you could put yourself in harm's way, there's a lot of storm chasers out there. Honestly, leave it to the professionals. Get schooling on it. Otherwise, don't chase. It's very dangerous. Lakers fan, when will Hannibal, Missouri storms come through? So down here toward Quincy and Hannibal, we mentioned this a few times. You may have just joined though. Going back here, again, we're talking early to mid-afternoon, and then potentially a secondary threat around 6, 7 o'clock. So early mid-afternoon through 1 p.m. to 4 p.m., and then about 6 to 8 o'clock, a secondary line of storms there in Hannibal. It's not a slam dunk you see severe weather, but definitely all modes are on the table: tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail. Keep an eye on that. How about Ottumwa, Iowa? So let's look up here to Ottumwa, Iowa here. Yes, the timing for storms here in Ottumwa, it looks like really soon, about noon time frame here in a couple hours, through about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So noon to 2, and then a secondary, potentially more intense line if we see sunshine. Again, we say if. Then we could have severe weather potential there for the Ottumwa area late this afternoon between 4 p.m. and about 6 p.m. So general timing, 12 p.m. to 2 for the first batch of storms. Second batch between 4 o'clock and 6 p.m. So that's what we're looking at there in the Ottumwa, Iowa area in southeast Iowa. Again, thanks for joining. Again, folks, we are almost, let's see at the end of the live stream if we can get to 87,500 subscribers. We are literally only 46 people away from getting to that point. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure that you are one of the 46 that are subscribed to this channel. Again, video forecast coming very soon for you later this morning and early this afternoon. David, talking about the second day outlook for Ohio. We can look at Wednesday's outlook just real quick since we haven't talked too much about it. Our main focus is today, taking a day at a time, but Ohio, you have a marginal risk there in eastern and southern portions of the state. And then the central, northwestern, and western part of Ohio is in a slight risk, a level 2 out of 5. This may be upgraded to an enhanced risk, depending on the mesoscale details as we get closer to tomorrow. But there is a 5% chance of tornadoes on Wednesday here from Detroit down to Cleveland, Toledo, down to the Lima region, Mansfield, and then up there again into Detroit, Lansing, Kalamazoo, stretching around to Fort Wayne. And then most of the state of Ohio outside of the southeastern part and the far eastern part have at least a chance for a tornado as we go through the day on Wednesday. Again, they'll be updating that outlook at 12:30 this afternoon. All of that information may be out on my video, so be checking that out. Another reason to subscribe to the channel. Hey, folks, look at that big jump here in subscribers. We're almost there, folks. We have, let's see here, 27 more people. Now we're down to 27 more people to get to 87,500. I really appreciate it. Keep pressing that like button. At the end of the live stream, I want to see that like button say 1,000, okay, folks? So let's keep hitting that like button. That's our goal. Our goal is to 87,500 subscribers here as well today. I really, really do appreciate your support. I really do. We've been live here for an hour and a half now. So thank you guys again for sharing your Tuesday morning with me here and enjoying the weather forecast. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. Rochelle. Yes, into DeKalb County here, into Ogle County. Rochelle is in Ogle County. We definitely have a threat for severe weather later on today, so let's look at the timing here. Looks like about 3 o'clock to about 8 p.m. is your main window of opportunity there in Rochelle. There could be a storm even after 8 o'clock, but the main severe weather chance is 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. here this afternoon as it looks right now there in Rochelle. There in southeastern Ogle County. So hopefully that helped you out there. What model am I using? I am using the HRRR, the 12Z HRRR, and that model updates every single hour. So we have new fresh data that comes in from that model every hour. And again, that is a good point too. It is just one model. The HRRR can be wrong, so it's not a, don't take all like what you see on the HRRR or any weather model verbatim. It's just a simulation of what the radar could look like. It's not a guarantee that the radar will look exactly like it. So we want to stress that as well. So, but the HRRR model, especially for severe weather days, does very well. So definitely keeping an eye on that. The new model runs that come in through midday. Princeton, home of the Tigers, down here into Bureau County. Let's look here at Princeton, Illinois. We definitely have the potential for severe weather too. It looks like, again, 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. Pretty much the same timing here in Princeton. While we could have a storm after 8 o'clock, I think the main mode of severe weather, or the main time frame rather, of severe weather will be between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. All modes on the table here: tornadoes, very large hail, potentially golf ball size hail, and then we could also be seeing 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. The strongest storms coming through between 3 p.m. and 8 o'clock here this afternoon and evening there in Princeton, Illinois, in Bureau County. Yesterday's event was the EML, the elevated mix layer. There's a lot of drought ongoing in New Mexico right now and Colorado. So yesterday, if you're wondering, folks, there's a lot of drought ongoing back down here into, say, New Mexico and into Colorado. And this, sorry, I'm trying to circle it here, into this vicinity back here. And for plains setups, great plains setups, if you want tornadoes here in Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, it really is heavily dependent on this area here. If you have a very strong drought, especially in New Mexico, and you have a very strong trough coming in, and you have the trough kind of like this, that's where the air is coming from. It's coming from New Mexico. It's coming from the Four Corners region, and that is the elevated mix layer. And what that means is it's going to put a cap on the atmosphere. And if you guys were here earlier when I was talking about the cap or the lid on the atmosphere, it's a shallow warm layer aloft, a few thousand feet above your head, and it prevents a lot of big cumulonimbus clouds from forming. It prevents a lot of severe weather from forming, and that's really what tampered the severe weather threat for Oklahoma and North Texas yesterday. It was mainly for Nebraska and Kansas that saw the tornado threat for the most part. No problem, Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate it. What website? You can see it on a lot of websites. Alex, you can see the HRRR on Tropical Tidbits, provided by Levi Cowan, a scientist that runs that site. You could also find it on College of DuPage Weather Models, Pivotal Weather, several different websites that you can see that on. Weather Bell. You just have to pay a fee for that. So there's several different applications you can see it on. You can even see it on here. This application I'm using is Radar Omega. A lot of different weather models here on this. This is cheap, maybe about $10 or so. I'm not exactly sure how much this costs. I probably should know that, but I don't off the top of my head right now. But it's just a handful of dollars here to get Radar Omega. Very great radar app. One of the best radar apps you can have. So that is for sure. Erica, good morning from cloudy Kansas City. Yeah, there's a lot of storms ongoing back there in Kansas City here. Let's look at the radar right now. We haven't looked at the radar here so far today, so let's check this out here near the Des Moines area. Yes, we got storms ongoing west of Des Moines here this morning. No severe, actually, I should probably turn on the severe warnings before I say no severe weather. So let me turn on the weather alerts real quick. No severe weather up there in Iowa. There are warnings down here towards Kansas City right now. Actually, a severe thunderstorm warning for Kansas City here this morning until 10:45 for 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And this is just the start of a busy day of severe weather here if you live in the Midwest. That is for sure. All right, we got new data coming in. So I'm going to actually look at this for the first time. It's starting to come in here. So let's see what this looks like here. Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So this model has changed a little bit. And folks, we have a tornado warning that has been issued to the north and east of the Kansas City metro area. So let's go here to the radar now real quick, and we'll look at the new guidance in just a moment. Let's look at this tornado warning that just popped up. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye here. We have a tornado warning. This is a radar-indicated tornado warning here for the Smithville area, moving northeast at 50 miles an hour. Okay, this is into northwestern Missouri. This is north and east of the Kansas City metro. And let's see here. We can look at the velocity signature on here. Very strong winds here with this storm as well. 60 mile an hour winds is a threat. We have some broad rotation here. There's nothing on the ground, which is some good news. But definitely the couplet would be sitting just near Smithville here, as it was mentioned into the warning. And this would be heading up to the north and east, just to the west of Lawson, Missouri, over the next several minutes. So if you live in Lawson, Missouri, make sure you are taking shelter now. And the lowest, most interior, if you don't have a basement, lowest, most interior room away from windows as possible. Put as many walls between you and the outdoors as possible there. A dangerous storm with a tornado warning and radar indicated tornado right now ongoing in northwestern Missouri. Hey, we are 10 subscribers away, folks, from 87,500. If you want to help me get there, subscribe to the channel down below. We are only 10 people away from our goal. Yeah, exactly, Richard Hill. Yep, tornado warning north and east of the Kansas City metro. Radar indicated. Yes, it is, Jacob. Yes, it is possible. Absolutely. It is possible. Thank you, folks. We finally hit our goal, 87,501 subscribers. We're almost to 88,000. We're getting close. I'm in downtown Kansas City. Matthew. Yeah, what's it looking like there, Matthew, in Kansas City? There's severe weather moving through the eastern side of the metro. It looks like with 60 mile an hour winds. Did you see any damaging winds there with the storms? Or did you experience any damaging winds? It'd be cool to know that. We are watching this tornado warning. Radar indicated here near Smithville. north of Kansas City and up toward Lawson, Missouri. If you are in Lawson, Missouri, or near the I-35 corridor in northwest Missouri, take shelter now. This is a tornado warning here. Tornado is not on the ground, but there is a nice looking strong winds coming through and a broad rotation with this storm as well, right near Smithville here. And this storm will be pushing up to the north and east, and it will be crossing over Interstate 35 here within the next several minutes, up toward Lawson or just west of the city there of Lawson. Here, let's look at the velocity real quick over the last few scans that came through here. Yeah, look at that. We got like kind of a little notch there. That's where the tornado would be sitting, folks. You see that kind of little backward C shape there, kind of. You see that little notch curling back there towards Smithville. That tornado could be sitting just to the east of Smithville. This will be going west of Lawson up there towards I-35 between Plattsburgh up here and Lawson. So if you live in Plattsburgh, if you live in Lawson, even if you live in Kearney, you should be in your safe place right now there in northwestern Missouri with this dangerous tornado-warned storm. Thank you for joining, Nyla. I appreciate it. Have a great day at work and have a great rest of your Tuesday out there. I'll have a video forecast for everybody here shortly. Thank you. Again, just joining, make sure to press the like and subscribe button down below. 2 easy clicks and you guys are subscribed, so you see my face again for live stream coverage of not only severe weather, but hurricane season forecasts. Also, winter weather forecasts, videos that I'll be doing here again early this afternoon. I'll be doing an update video for severe weather today, looking at more severe weather this week. Also looking at the long-range forecast through late April, including the potential, yes, unfortunately, folks, for widespread and a prolonged period of frost and freeze conditions with a strong cold front moving through as we go into the weekend time frame coming up. All of that and much more in my video later on. Susan, Centerville, Iowa. Yes, we can answer that. I've seen that a few times. I apologize. Trying to update here on this tornado warning a little bit. Centerville, Iowa there. So let's look. You're in southern Iowa, southwest of Ottumwa. Yes, these storms will be moving into your area. So like if we look at the newest HRRR guidance that was just coming in here from the weather models, there's Centerville. We can see with this newest data literally just loading in now, so this is fresh data, looks like storms may be moving in early afternoon and then maybe a secondary line of storms trying to develop right over you as we go into the late afternoon. So your main time frame here is between noon and 3 o'clock, and then a secondary time frame between 4 and 6 o'clock for storms there in Centerville, Iowa. Both batches of storms could be producing severe wind gusts over 60 miles an hour, tornadoes, possibly a strong tornado, and some very large hail that could be up to baseball size here. So we want to be careful there. Make sure to remain weather aware there, Susan, if you live into the Centerville area. Peoria, Illinois. So we go over here to Peoria. Right now, looks with the new data that we do have, I'll do it as much as I can here that it's loaded in for. Looks like with what we do have here, we do have Peoria seeing a couple showers, maybe storms near 6 o'clock. The main line and the main difference actually with this new update, I'm actually getting more concerned now, and I don't say that too often unless I know it looks concerning. Here's the concerning thing that I'm seeing with the newest HRRR model, and I don't like it, folks, is it has backed off on the initial line of storms a little bit for the afternoon. We want this initial line of storms to be strong through the Davenport Quad Cities region. Yes, it could produce damaging winds. We don't want that, but we do not certainly want this secondary line of storms near the Mississippi River to form later if we have sunshine by 6 o'clock this evening in the Quad Cities region. If that does occur, that would produce the potential for a strong line of potentially tornadic and damaging wind-producing thunderstorms from Dubuque down through Clinton, the eastern side of the metro area of the Quad Cities, down through Galesburg and Macomb and even east of Quincy by about 7, 8, 9 o'clock this evening. That threat would be maximized if and only if we see sunshine later today, and if these storms that precede it are a lot weaker. And that has been the trend, at least with the last couple of model cycles this morning. We will see if the Storm Prediction Center takes that into account and upgrades potentially parts of northern Illinois more into an enhanced risk towards Rockford. We'll have to wait and see with the new update coming in here in about an hour. Unsubscribed. All right. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks for unsubscribing. I appreciate it. I can't help everybody's questions, folks. I'm only one person on here, so if you asked a question, I can't answer everybody's questions on here. I'm a human being. So if you unsubscribe because I missed your question, I'm sorry about it. I can answer as many questions as I can. You're welcome, Elizabeth. It's sunny in Davenport? Yes, Stacy, we don't want to see the sunshine. Not today. That would actually mean the increased threat for severe weather if we see sunshine continuing through the morning and afternoon there in Davenport. So that is definitely something to watch. DuPage County. Let's go over here towards Chicagoland area and DuPage County. You can see in this area, we are seeing the potential for storms moving in around 4 or 5 o'clock. A broken line of storms this evening, and then potentially seeing that moving through as we go through 9, 10 o'clock. We'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, it looks like mainly a late afternoon through mid-evening event there for DuPage County. So watch out for that 3 p.m. to about 10 o'clock. Yep, we just looked at Naperville and Glen Ellen area. Yep, 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. Caseyville, Illinois. So let's look at Caseyville, Illinois real quick for some of the questions here in the chat. And then I do have to get going here in just a few minutes, folks, because I am late. I need to start working on my video. Otherwise, I won't be getting it out by noon or 1 o'clock. So Caseyville, eastern side of the St. Louis metro area. We're going to go down here real quick. It looks more like an isolated, widely scattered threat for severe weather, and it looks to be mainly confined now to late afternoon, early evening. So about 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. is your time frame. Otherwise, we're not going to see any severe weather there. And that does include the main metro area of St. Louis. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that for sure. Batavia, Illinois. Yes, Batavia. Let's get up here to Batavia, Illinois real quick. And there's Batavia. And again, 3 o'clock to 10 p.m. is your window here. Looks like the strongest storms around 7, 8 o'clock. 7, 8 o'clock, the strongest storms, but 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. is a general time frame there in Batavia, Illinois. Sunny in Muscatine, Iowa. Megan, thanks for joining. Yes, Muscatine over here into southeastern Iowa. Yeah, we're seeing sunshine out here. If we look at the radar, if we go back to the radar site, we can see that there's nothing happening in the Davenport Quad Cities. Storms to the south and west, and storms are already tornadic to the north and east there of the Kansas City area right now. So we'll have to keep an eye on that for sure for later today. But the sunshine there in Muscatine is only going to provide the atmosphere with more instability, more energy for storm development later on today. And so that is something to keep an eye on. The more sunshine we do see, the more severe weather we could have. You're welcome, Alexa. Thanks for joining. Dubuque. Let's go up here to Dubuque real quick, and then I think I have to go, folks, here after this question. So because we're running late here, and we got to get that weather forecast video out for you folks for later this morning and afternoon. So let's hear Dubuque. We're looking at a threat here. Why is it not wanting to go? Let me see here. Why is it not working? So Dubuque here, we are looking at a general timing between about 3 o'clock, here, and it looks like the strongest storms by dinner time here. So 3 to 5 o'clock, some strong storms, very large hail, tornadoes, and damaging winds, 60, 70 mile an hour winds and stuff like that. And then maybe a secondary line from Dubuque southward through Maquoketa, down to Davenport, down there towards the Keokuk, Fort Madison region in Burlington, Iowa through about 7 o'clock. That'll push east along the Mississippi River into Clinton, into Savannah, Illinois, Freeport, over there towards the Sauk Valley area, Sterling Rock Falls into Dixon, up there toward Foreston, Rockford, Illinois by about mid-evening hours there. on your Tuesday evening. So we'll keep an eye on that. So Dubuque, looking at mainly afternoon and evening. All right, folks, thank you so much for the generous donations, folks. I really do appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who donated. Thanks for everybody for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate all the new subscribers, all the old subscribers that are here as well that have followed me since day one. Continue to spread the word here on this channel, Weather on the Go. Follow me on Twitter. You can follow me there on Twitter at hweather420, capital H, weather420 on Twitter. And you can also subscribe to this channel so you get additional weather live streams, whether it's for severe weather, hurricanes, or winter weather moving forward. Also for daily weather forecast videos on this channel. I do appreciate everybody's endless support. Again, it is really much appreciated. Thank you. Please, everybody, have multiple ways to receive watches and warnings today. I cannot stress this enough. Today could be a bust. It could be a big severe weather day. Every severe weather day could be a bust. Every severe weather day, regardless of a marginal risk or higher, could be a big day for severe weather. We want you guys to remain weather aware. If the sunshine is out today, remember, I told you that energy is going to be higher today if the sun is shining. And that is what we're seeing outside my window here in northern Illinois today right now. So I have to remain weather aware as well. Good news, tornado warning has been allowed to expire or be canceled to the north and east there of Kansas City Metro. So there is no longer a tornado warning right now in that region. We definitely will keep you covered as we get deeper into through the day with severe weather. Again, watch out for my video between noon and 2 o'clock this afternoon, folks, Central Time. Noon and 2 o'clock Central Time, 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern, and you know, the West Coast, all that stuff is a lot sooner. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great, safe rest of your Tuesday. Please heed all watches and warnings later today. Take shelter if you do get under a tornado warning, and please stay safe out there. And I'll see you all early this afternoon on my video. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Talk to you soon.